What's up, everybody? It's Jake here. Becky's here too, right there. We got some other people here, and we're near this thing right here. We're at this is number 9 coal mine and museum, and we're gonna check it out today. So, as I said before, let me flip it around.
God.
Guys, don't forget we probably want to pay for a ticket soon.
What? Yeah, I just want to get a shot or two.
Yeah.
I'm pulling an Ace Ventura right now.
Man,
Yeah.
you catch a bullet in your teeth?
Is it before or after you realize Tingle is Einhorn?
You in the crying game. Come on, Becky, get in the shot too. Then you're throwing some. I'm pulling an Ace Ventura right now.
Oh man, you catch a bullet in your teeth?
Before or after you realize Tingle is Einhorn?
Whoa! And it used to be another set of tracks next to it. It looks like I keep stepping in the trestle holes. Oh, there's one down there too. That one might be functional. I don't know. It's a neat one. This is a place I have been wanting to come. You been to this one?
No, I've only been to the Lackawanna one. That's
Oh, okay. So you still need to do the other one that's closed. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to that like like 2 months ago. We went to it. So I got the shirt.
This one moves a little bit.
So I wonder how far the tracks used to go.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. Whoa, watch my head.
Yeah. See, actually, there's a line right here too.
It used to split, yeah, because I keep.
I wonder if it like went around. Maybe they used to have a ride.
Maybe.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. Whoa, watch my head. Dunk. As you can see, the tracks used to go that way. There's some stuff over there. You see that stuff next to that shed?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Oh, they got wood in here. There's a lever here. I'll get this sucker going here. Get her going. Uh-oh. It doesn't work. Hey, Becky.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi. Alright, I'm getting off this before I hurt myself. Alright, we're gonna walk toward the actual, I guess, the mine and the museum. There's a big concrete, like half concrete building over there. That might be some type of entrance, maybe? I don't know. Oh, there's more of them over there. Got a sign here. If anybody wants to read it, or you can always pause. I'll zoom in.
That before or after flip around.
I haven't flipped around, but yeah, I'll do it in a few here. Don't worry. Nobody worry. What's this say? Visitor parking. Welcome to the oldest coal mine you can tour in America and the longest operating anthracite deep mine in the world. 1855 to 1972. Oh, here we go. It's an old school photo for you guys. We'll pause it if you want to look a little better at it. If I can find a website with the image, maybe I'll definitely put it in the section below.
Or you just use my picture.
Or Becky's picture.
I asked for Andrew when I was filming it at the coal burner.
We gotta go get tickets.
Huh? I don't know.
We might have a few minutes after we go in here and get some tickets. The train was a little funny.
Let's try this without the lens cap on.
Four out here.
Car here.
I think.
Museum entrance. Oh, I got one of this now. Alright guys, so we just got in the museum portion of the mining area. I'm gonna flip it around. You know what that is? Give you an idea, it's cool. Oh, look at that, it's got fossils in there. It looks like, what, slate? Very neat. Talk about this picture. We have a guy in this room, we're always kind of like checking out different stuff. Just doing our videos. The link videos, everybody's videos. I would hope that's not active. Let's say thank you for not smoking. Because if you smoked and that was real, oh my god. This is neat.
Between 1810 and 1910, anthracite became a necessity of commerce and a strategic resource spawning an industrial.
We got a baby. Baby taking a bath on the sink. He's in styrofoam. Packing peanut. Pack a peanut baby. Pack a peanut baby. Yeah.
Without the iron, we would not be able to build the railroads. Without the railroads, we wouldn't have had the national transportation network, which was so important in the political unity of the United States. Coal, as well as the transport, give them a tremendous economic power that might be used to gouge consumers, take advantage of miners. Men who worship false gods, they abandon their loyalty. When William McKinley was elected the Republican president in 1896, politics of the business treated the capital industry as modern day. Against Eastern Europe north in the Gulf of America, claim to fame as long as I
Those are cool.
Oh, that is
I like
fancy.
the football. And a bowling trophy.
Feel free to ask. Ask them. I'll try and get you a good answer one way or the other. You know, if we're on the outside, I could always try to like Google. I'm feeling lucky. You know what I mean? I'll get you an answer. But Anyhow, I just want to mention that within the mine, it's approximately 50 degrees in there today. There is a little bit of drip of water from spot to spot. Most of us have jackets, but if we want to take like an extra jacket just to put over your shoulders, you know what I mean, to keep that water from dripping on you, feel free. There's hard hats in here also that you could wear for your convenience and comfort, safety. Some taller people like myself, there's a little bit clearance on one or two spots in there, but most average height people don't have anything to worry about. So at that particular point, we're going to take a slow walk down on the platform. My vision says that there's like 2 people pulling in the parking lot now. There's always 2 people pulling in the parking lot. As they leave here to walk down to the platform, they'll catch up. So, okay.
Me and Becky. Alright guys, we're heading down to the mine cars, I believe. I don't know if that's what you call them exactly, but I'm gonna flip around so you guys can see. What was that? He's rocking one with his hard hat there.
Is there any windows I can lift?
That is cool.
Any windows I can lift?
Check out too. I want to get some footage of.
That will have to wait till after the mine.
Yeah. Still want to miss it.
Ron Lickman.
There isn't 2 stragglers. There's right 2.
Again, folks, welcome to the number 9 mine. My name is John. I'll be your tour guide. A little about the tour here, a little touch on safety. We're going to get onto the car here. We're going to take a ride within the mine, approximately 1,600 feet, a little over a quarter mile. At that particular part, you'll be at that particular point, you'll be about a little more than 200 feet below the surface of the ground. We'll be leaving these cars behind and going for about a approximate 600-foot walk about within the mine to several locations where I'll be explaining some of the workings within the mine during that time frame. I just want to mention that there is low lighting within the mine, a little bit more authentic for the events that used to take place in there. There is a drip of water from spot to spot. The floor is wet and damp, but it is not slippery. It's a gravel floor. I do want to mention to anybody, if you touch anything, you're going to get the blackout from the cold dirt on you. It's free souvenir, take it home with you and enjoy it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like most people, like what your mother used to tell you, maybe keep your hands in your pockets. But that's, you know, I'm not saying that. But anyhow, other than that, it's like I say, it's 50 degrees in here, so it's going to be a little bit warmer than out here. So hopefully you enjoy it. Collect your tickets. We're going to take a nice slow ride in there.
Tickets.
All you have to do is you just have to watch your head. All people watch your.
Becky's holding the tickets hostage.
Yeah.
She's like, everybody be good or you're not
Find a
getting on.
comfortable seat, if there is such a thing. Thank you.
I was told I had to hold
That's
it for
good.
my
You got it.
guys.
You got all the guys. Somebody has to be a leader, right?
Front or back, guys?
Either way.
Are we all going to fit in here?
Yeah, it should. It should be enough room. Usually holds 15, so I think that'll look like 12, 13.
Sorry.
It's cool. You're good.
Come here. Watch your
head. Watch my head.
head.
No, it grabbed you because it's the paint's chipping.
See?
Yeah.
You gotta be smart.
It ain't smart.
Into my
Using his
face.
head. There's some yellow paint on the top of the helmet now.
Oh, he's not. It's going into my head.
They're gonna charge you for the helmet when you leave.
That's alright.
The portal there, 1855. That's 6 years before the Civil War started. The gold rush is going on out in California yet.
Little gold card thing. I don't know what this is.
We're gonna go down a hole
1931, that's when they modernized
under the ground.
Thank you for specifying that.
Within the plant. It was steam power for the pumps, the hoists, such like that. 31, they put electricity into the mine, so it was converted over to electricity. Like this modern baby that we're going to go in on, you know, it's battery powered, so you know it's brand new and modern. Kind of like. We'll get there.
There we go. Well, yeah.
Not the first hole in the ground we've gone into.
This is their ride.
fresh.
Becky, watch your fingers.
I don't have to pee anymore.
All right, guys. I hope everyone
That's what that feel on my feet is.
Step out here, step to the right, and gather over by the rock wall. John will be with you in a few minutes.
RJ did it.
And watch your step. You got your helmet.
Careful, son.
Watch your heads, guys.
Aww.
Rather noisy.
My guys can start going to the cars right here. Watch your step, guys.
Welcome, folks. We are officially in a real live anthracite coal mine. It's the oldest mine, anthracite mine, basically in the world, at 164 years of age. So anyhow, the age of the mine here, it's been in operation for, like I was saying, it started in 1855, but ceased operation here as a working mine in 1972, but it's still tourable yet. One of the few remaining yet, like in the country, that you could tour. It's hard to notice that this mine here, this tunnel here is a drift tunnel. Its elevation's 8 foot higher at this elevation than it is on the outside.
I got drift on.
You know what that means?
Oh, wrong one. Go devil.
First stop along the way, this area of the mine is called Go Devil. If you can picture like the set of tracks that we rode in on was the original set of tracks. Within that set of tracks was a smaller set. There's a small dolly that sits in here on the ground. This little dolly here would actually come out and run on the center tracks. It would go down to the shaft down over my right shoulder. These tunnels within this mine here basically go for miles and miles, because if you take the extent of time that there was any coal out of here.
Let's go explore. We're gonna split up, gang. Promise. And then you got Go Devil that way. Wow, what are these?
Where it's 50 degrees. It's 50 degrees basically year round in here. In the summertime when it was like 100 degrees outside, trust me, it was 50 degrees in here, and it was pleasurable coming in here. And a little bit today, because it's actually a little bit cooler outside with the air blowing, it's a little bit more comfortable in here than outside. But it's 50 degrees actually in January when it's 0 and a foot of snow on the ground. I'm going over the long history that it had. The tooling that they use is basically all simple hand tools. It's kind of like how they built the pyramids, you know what I mean, with a hammer and a chisel, you know what I mean, and that's how you punched your holes into this, because yes, well, you had a little bit of steam power, but there's no electricity for it, you know. So old structure, old timbers, like they used to build the sailing ships back in the olden days, when, you know, they used to sail the ships across the sea. We're approximately 200 feet below the surface right now. I just want to mention that you're on level 1. 200 feet below us is level 2. 200 feet below us, that level is level 3. 200 feet again is level 4. So there's 4 levels within the mine. Total distance from the surface to the bottom is like 1,000 feet. So the Empire State Building, I think it's around like 1,150 feet or so. The Eiffel Tower is about 950 feet. So I'm just giving you some comparisons for how deep this mine goes to some structures that are on the surface. But up on the surface where I have my light shining here up on the left side here is the head frame that had 2 large sheens on it, which, you know, these the wire cables or ropes came down attached to the platform parts that were here. Yeah, that was steam powered up there on the surface also. There was a drum roller system, an operator sat up there. You can picture an old elevators with the the two white pointers are possibly the hands on your watch, like 1 through 4, that's how they would indicate which level that these platforms were at. In the beginning, there was no electricity for communications to the surface, so they would use steam blast. One steam blast for shaft number 1, or two blasts for shaft number 2, and short blast, for bringing it up or down. It was a very simple system that they used for, because there's no vocal means of communication with them. So, as you can picture that these platforms were like up and down, and if you notice, like I'm saying again, the open structure of these, there's bonnets placed on the top where I have my light shining. These bonnets were there for safety factors, and you can see there's handholds underneath them, somewhere toward the subway system in New York or San Francisco, and any transportation, the handle to hang on to as you're traveling up and down. Which I would want to say though is that with it being the open system, it's not like riding in a modern elevator where you're in the little can there, you don't even know you're moving to, you say, oh yep, I think we stopped, you know what I mean, and the doors open up. These here, if you came in contact with the sidewalls as you were moving, you had a problem. You know what I mean, a big problem. And you could picture one of these cars platforms all the way down to the 4th level, and they're bringing one up from the 4th level adjacent to it, the smooth ride that we had in here, and the coal being, thrown into the cars, little herky-jerky, and you could just imagine how smooth it is with these old cable systems. Stuff was getting bounced around, that some material would fall down the secondary shaft, that's how these are damaged from the top. You can just, picture the rocks falling down, hitting them, you know what I mean? And you go down 600 feet, it does pick up a little bit of speed. After you get to 32 feet, she's going pretty good. So anyhow, these platforms have been sitting here stationary. They didn't work at lower levels of this mine, still production up through 1960. In 1960, they stopped production at the deeper levels within the mine, but they continued to mine coal off of this level to 1972. So these platforms have been stationary since 60. 1972, the mine actually stopped operations on a production level. In that year, if people are familiar with the Hurricane Agnes in this area, some people not familiar with that, I'll try to use, in recent times, the hurricane in New Orleans, where New Orleans got flooded. Hurricane sat there spinning for a couple of days. This area here got hit with a Hurricane Agnes in June of 1972. Something like 32 to 35 inches of rain. So Tamaka, which is 4 miles west of us, got flooded out. The Susquehanna River Valley got flooded out, and this mine actually got flooded out, which was enough to close the production. More water was entering the mine, and they could pump out some of the cars that they had in here, got carried out of the mine basically with the storm water, and that's what's caused the production stoppage. So, but from over here on the point, folks, since like 1960, they stopped pumping water out of the mine. So the water did fill in some areas of the mine. So the 4th level is underwater. The 3rd level is underwater. In fact, the water level is approximately 50 feet above the 3rd level. From a point over here on the side, you'll be able to take a look down over the side. We have a light shining on it down there. You'll be looking down 25 stories to see what the natural water table is within this mountain now. So anything that you have in your hands, especially I see some people with some equipment that's worth more than $1.50, I would say, plus, you know what I mean? So if you have anything that you don't want to lose, give it the old death grip, because if something does fall over the side, thank you for the donation to the museum, there's no way of retrieving it, okay?
One question I had, the lower levels, was this the only way to access them, or was there other portals for those?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There's actually 3 shaft systems within the mine. This is a haul shaft. This is basically for hauling materials up and down. There's a utility shaft, which is deeper in the mine over in the other tunnel. That's where they would pump the water from the lower levels, from the pump stations on level 2 and level 3. They would pump that water up to this level to have it drain out. They'd actually run steam lines down. Electricity lines would be taken down later at a later date. And then you have an air shaft system in here. But actually the workers, there's emergency access cuts in here, tunnels, from getting from level to level, which I will show you once we get on the other side. It's actually, there's a mule way over there, and I'll explain how the miners actually used to work. This being a haul shaft was basically used for hauling, I'm saying, coal. the miners as being production type people, you know what I mean, production type people in a lot of organizations aren't as treated as well as the CEO at the top, you know what I mean? Here, if you can think about it historically in the time frame, there's no, ancient ruins or the big parking lots outside. Everybody that worked here lived within 2 miles of this, place. You got up in the morning, you walked to work, you walked into the mine, you did your job, and at the end of the day, you walked home. Because, you know, the only thing outside, there was a stable out there. The stable was out there for 2 reasons. One, the mules from within the mine, it's a place for them to go. And 2, the workers used to walk to work, but the horse, the bosses, the big chiefs, I would say, the bosses, they would always ride to work. They had, you know, they had the means for the transportation. They always would come on horseback, and they always had to get the horses. They always seemed to find horses, the long-legged horses, so they could ride in on their high horses. That's the way they used to always work. Still does, I guess, in a lot of locations. So I'll show you an area here. We can take a look down the overside and continue.
It's pretty cool. What? There's a rat. That's really neat though. I want to try standing on it though. It's really far down there.
Is it?
You can see it a little bit. Yeah, I see it in the video. Way down there, guys. Is it 25? Alright, so way down there. Whoa. I can't even see the bottom of it. Oh yeah, I can. Wow, it's really far down there.
Is it?
You can see it a little bit. Yeah, I see it in the video. Way down there, guys. Is it 25 feet? Slightly rusty.
And boys were killed in one mine explosion out of the LPA, 150 years ago. That's all they used was like 40 yard mortars. Yeah, one gas explosion, and that was it. So I guess I got everybody here right now. So does anybody have a musical background at all? Anybody? Little? What tone would I hear if a miner fell down the shaft? Could be, but I'm gonna just say the A flat mine. There's like a lot of material to work with within the mine. Does anybody remember a guy who used to be called that in the early 24 that used to sing a song 16 times? Okay, so and his song was that number 9 mine. I'm not gonna say this is number 9 mine in Pennsylvania, but in the lyrics of the song, it's about well, 16 pounds, you know what I mean, it falls you off the beach. He was singing about these particular cars that are here. This car here is, there was 5,000 of these cars within the valley in anything. 1,200 cars within this mine itself at that time frame. So it's a lot of cars. Currently they're down to 9 cars that are being foundation has. So this is a very simple piece of equipment, you know what I mean? But that again, it was all, where you're standing here is kind of like the interstates in the States. All the production passed right through here. It was just like, I don't know, the line was something like that he actually was thinking about the number 9 mine. And it could have been in Tennessee, or I just want to talk about some of the fools that are here. But that was the song kind of like went about, I loaded 16 ton and all I got was deeper than that. You know, I owe my soul to the company stole. Because actually the miners and the children that work within these mines, they were not paid real US current, actually what's going on the line, which is second is you don't know the system, so they always take advantage of it. Whether it's today or it was 200 years ago. And it's the same thing, I was just up to Canada, 2 weeks ago on vacation, guess what, I got taken advantage of up there because they're speaking French, okay, let me get through this one, you know what I mean, it is what it is, But we're gonna talk a little bit about the tools were rather simple at the time. It's all over and over again. So what they were paid in tokens from the company. Those tokens could only be converted or cashed in at the company store for goods, you know what I mean, food and goods and such like that. So they kinda like, they had you, economically, they had you kinda like chained to the job, like how you walk, or 3 to 8 foot in length. They would have like a chest brace drill, a miner would press against it with his chest, coworker behind him actually shove it into him almost like a rugby or a football game, and he would turn an auger type, drill bit, and you would drill into the face of the coal being a lot softer than what the rock was. And then they got more modern, they have what this is called like a leg jack drill. This is an air cylinder that's here. What they would do is actually the compressed air would go into this weighs about 85 pounds the way it sits now, but air pressure would fill this piston cylinder here, forcing it into the face of the rock with the drill, just squeeze the handle and it would rotate it. This is about 125 years old technology, still used yet till today. The only thing on today's is that they would have water injectors on to spray up in there to keep the rock dust down so the miners wouldn't be, breathing the dust in as a safety factor. Okay, so it's basically all manual labor, folks. Nothing that anybody today would want to do. It's doing me.
The pain is they don't show.
Right, so it's, what it was the gas detection system. So the gases that were in the mine were lethal.
You see this?
So in the beginning, what they did, they had small birds within the mines and if you notice the bird not doing a lot of activity, there was gas, and the gas would basically eliminate them before they would eliminate you.
Mule.
So that was one of the reasons that they started with small birds in the mine. 1847, a guy over in England, Sir Humphrey Davy, invented today with ultrasound or methane gas. The other one is black damp, down to one section to get it to mix and work itself out. There's nothing fancy, no big snorkel systems or extra fans or blowers that they could put in to get rid of it. It was like, it was just you had to deal with it, what you did. There's only the rich people sent their kids to school, all the other younger people and stuff like that, they were working, 5 years old, well, I shouldn't say 5, but 7 years old, they'd be working over in a breaker as a breaker boy. They'd be sitting on 5-inch wide pieces of wood over in a sluice section there. The coal material would be coming down under their feet, and their job was to pull the impurities out of that coal stream, whether it be pieces of wood, pieces of rock, pieces of slate, out of that coal stream, because they were selling coal, they weren't selling rock and wood, and that's what they did. Most of the kids there doing that didn't have fingernails because of the rocks that were always moving, they were always hitting their fingers, so you had cuts, fingernails were missing, if you had any damage like that. The cure all of the day was you took some grease and you rubbed some grease on your wounds, and that was the old fix-all for everything. Back in those days, it was like, that's about what they had. So after the children were 7 years old, and now, children grow rather quickly, so, we're gonna jump forward to they're 12 years old. 12 years old now, physically, they couldn't fit that location, so they would give them a job over here in the mine. And what they did is they were mule boys, taking about an 800-pound animal, take it by the reins, and now, what his job was to do is take an empty coal cart to where the miners needed it. When that car was filled, he would remove that car and get them another one. If they needed extra materials, wood or dynamite, anything that materials that they needed to support, continuing their deeper mining operations, that's what his job was. And he did that from, say, 12 years old to 16, 17. At that time, kids grow rather quickly. They could be like a young adult, and now they might become a helper or actually a miner themselves, depending on the way the world went. The lighting, the cap that he's wearing, there wasn't what you call any safety equipment at the time. The cap that's on his head is just basically like a canvas cap, just to hold the light on his head. There's no hard hats, there's no safety glasses, dust masks, face shields, leather gloves, soft earplugs because my lawnmower is making too much noise, you know what I mean? None of that type of stuff. But the lighting that they had, some miners used to use regular candles, because candles you could make out of materials that you could access out of the mine. Anything that you used or consumed within the mine, you bought from the mine itself. You needed oil for your lantern, you bought it from the mine. You needed dynamite, you bought it from the mine. You broke your pick handle, you bought a new one from the mine company, you know what I'm saying? That's how they had.
You bought your own equipment, your own dynamite.
Yep.
To work here.
Yep. That's just like you, if you have your job in modern USA today, and if I would go to work, like my company's gonna charge me $10 a day to park in their parking lot next to the plant, and then I walk inside, they're gonna charge me rent on the computer and on the electricity that I'm using. I'm just saying that's the way it works. You know, so it's, things are different, but not that all different. Talk about that lighting again, that they had candles, sometimes the miners would use a candle on their hat, because that you could render, or they would use a light like this, is called an open flame wick lamp, you know, because you had a container in here for the oil, the flame would come off the top about 2 inches high. The fuel of the day was actually whale oil, they would use whale oil in them, or some people would render seeds down, whether it be corn seeds, you know, sunflower seeds, anything that you could grow locally, you know what I mean, you could, you know, render it down to get cooking oils out of it, because cooking oils do burn, you know what I mean, that they would use them. The light, next phase of lights after that are called calcium carbide lanterns. You have calcium carbide in the bottom half of the light, there's a water chamber on top, a little needle valve for water. The water would drip down top of that calcium carbide, fizzing, and it would create a acetylene gas. That acetylene gas would actually come out the reflector part of the light. There's a small piece of flint that was attached to their reflector, that they could strike it, they actually ignite that acetylene gas, and you have an open flame gas on. And then the new ones are these now with the light bulbs and the battery. You can still buy the calcium carbide at Walmart. It's about 120 bucks a can. Some people prefer it if they're going exploring in the mines and caves, because no light bulbs to burn out or batteries to go bad. You know what I mean? If you had to, I could spit on it and I could make gas and I could have light. In the mine, when time allowed you could ride the haul shaft up and down. Very few laws in the time frame, but one of the laws was that you had to have other ways of getting in and out of a mine. So what they did is, this is actually there's 7 mineable sized veins of coal within this mine itself. This is called the Holmes vein. This vein runs about 4.5 foot thick. So what they did is, other than they needed coal, that was their job, they actually cut an access way in down to like the lower levels of the mine. This goes in a little short distance here, but then it drops down at about a 40-degree angle for 150 feet. Just if you look at a parking structure in any of the cities, like parking decks, you know, it drops down at a 40-degree angle for about 150 feet. There's a turnaround at that point where you could take that large animal like that mule, get them to spin around, and now take them back down again 40 degrees for another 150 feet. And now that would get you down to the second level. These are cut throughout the mine at different locations, because for every so far in mileage that you will go into a mine, they had to cut one in so miners could get out. You never knew when you're going to hit water, gas explosions, or a cave in or something like that, where you had to exit the mine in a hurry. So, and what they did is they got the coal out of this this vein here, as they were doing. Of these 7 veins of coal, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the area, but I did hear somebody say that they just got off the turnpike down by Lee Heighton, and they had to come through Jim Thorpe. So Jim Thorpe's about 9 miles in that direction. So if I'm in Jim Thorpe and now I turn around and face this direction, my back's at Jim Thorpe, to Upper Dauphin County, above our state capital, Harrisburg, 60 miles. That's how far these coal veins run, from Jim Thorpe down to Upper Dauphin County. It's 60 miles. If you look at a piece of cake, a slice of pizza, or such, if you go from Jim Thorpe up to Wilkes-Barre, and you take that like on an angle down towards that Harrisburg area, that's about the 425 square miles, which encompass the anthracite coal fields here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Okay, so these coal veins, the reason they discovered them, they're called outcroppings. These veins of coal back in 1793, there was guys up on top of the mountain over here hunting or cutting wood or whatever that they were doing. You know how you make the fire rings with stones around where you're burning fire outside so it doesn't grow. And so this guy made a fire out of some rocks on the surface, and all of a sudden he wakes up and says, "What the heck? The rocks are burning." You know what I mean? And that's how they discovered the coal. you know what I mean? It's that eureka moment, you know what I mean? You know, like I said in the bathtub, but anyhow. Regardless, that's how they discovered coal on the surface. They dug on the surface down to a certain depth with the tools that they had, you know, picks and shovels and trying to, you know, get water out of the pits that they were digging. And then they figured out that they had to dig a tunnel in through here to access the deeper veins of coal. These veins here from this mountain ridge on my left to the mountain ridge on my right, which would be Summit Hill and the mountain here between like Lansford and where Nescahoning or Lake Hotta would be. This valley runs about 2 to 3 miles across. These veins of coal run from the surface down approximately 2,000 feet below the surface, make a spin up and come up on the other mountain ridge. So that's how they discovered how much coal's here. Now, he's needing to get on the other side. Let's just talk a little bit quick about the timbers. Timbers within the mine here, overhead are the support. In the main tunnel where you are, they use roof flags. They would drill up and put lags up in there and you know what I mean, to keep the rock from falling. Coal being a different structure, they would put wood beams across as they're going across to support the roof. It was for 2 reasons. One, it would support the roof, and second, it was an early warning system. If they're working a vein of coal and they put the timbers in every so often, they put the timbers, they dig deeper.
camera roll.
It's an early warning system. If they heard any rocks slipping or moving, and you heard the timber starting to crack, they would say, oh, you know, it's time to get out of here. The rocks are moving. I'm getting a load on some of these timbers. I'm backing out in a hurry.
Behind you. I'm coming.
Becky, where are you?
Behind you.
You gotta catch up. Flip it back around. Flip it.
Someone would be in this location to start his day. You would roll up in there and you would take your drill and you would start to drill 8 or 10 or 12 holes into that coal, that big section of coal that's up there.
Look at that
So
guy.
you would drill your holes up in there, and then what you would do is you would actually start packing them with black powder. Dynamite wasn't invented yet. So you pack it with dynamite, you would run your fuses together, you run your, I should say, when that was done a little bit later, like 40 years later, they invented dynamite. It was the same process. What miners did was a simple job. You drill holes in something, you put explosive into the hole, you set the charge off, clean up that mess, and now you keep on digging. That's what they did. So they actually preferred dynamite. It had a lot more force behind it. Same deal. You would drill your holes, you would put 4 or 5 sticks of dynamite in there. Electric blasting caps were a lot safer. You know, you come down, you would run fire in each direction and then set the charge off and have that explosion. Once that explosion took place, that material would come down into a place called a battery. That was a holding area up within that area that's there. The mule boy would bring that coal car over, the empty car over to this location. You would pull the side of a piece of wood out, board out there, that material would come down out of the battery, and you're actually blowing your coal car at that time. If the car got full, you shove a piece of wood across it, and you were done. So the mule boy would take the full car out, bring an empty one back in. Now, if you have to picture yourself going up in there after that explosion, so you're going up in there and there's stuff going to be scattered all over the place, so you're as a miner, you're removing materials, you're taking that, throwing that into the battery, and you're working your way up to where you set your charge off. You have to remember that when you set your charge off, you're exposed, you've already aerated to like that natural gas, methane gas, so you're gonna crawl up in there with your little Davy's lantern and the light that's lit on top of your hat, you know, open flame to see if there's gas up there. I'm just saying how it'll work. Now you're gonna crawl up in an area like that, and now you're gonna remove any loose rock that's still back from that blast area. There's the loose stuff that's still hanging. This piece of pipe that's on my right hand side is a piece of old steam pipe right here.
We got tracks below us. And this nasty water below. Look at that blue stream. I don't just want to go and play in it.
Put a little rubber ducky in there.
It's probably toxic.
It's like cool.
pretty impressive though. It's cool how they're all different. No matter which one you go to, they all got their own like style.
I've only been in the Lackawanna County one, that's a lot different. Yeah.
No, so you
Yeah,
haven't
but I
done,
only public tour. I've
so
been a bunch
you
of
haven't done the
random ones.
Pioneer one?
Pioneer I haven't been to yet.
Is there anybody that would be concerned if I shut the lights off within the mine for a second, to show you a little bit more realistically what the working conditions?
Oh, it's dark.
Okay, now, what I just will just give your eyes a second or two to adjust to nothing. What I wanna do is, if I shine my light down that way, you can see about 100 or so feet. I just want to mention to people that this light here is a modern light. This is a lot more light intensity than what you will get from one candle power with the miner's castle. Can you imagine yourself as a 12-year-old boy leading a mule through the mines with this much light on top of your head? Could you imagine yourself as the miners crawling up in those holes down there after you set off a dynamite charge to go up there and remove loose rock with this amount of lighting? You know, with the way your footing and such would be. I'm just trying to mention that there's like, at its heyday, there's about 250 miners working within this entire mine system here, so that's about the amount of light that you had, each and every miner, and that's, where's the conditions. I'm gonna turn the lights back on.
Let there be light.
In the earliest days, you sat at that location, they did not stop production, they did not send anybody in to remove yet, anything, until the end of the shift. A co-worker might take a piece of his shirt, your shirt, to make a bandage, a sling, or a splints. Okay, folks, so what I'd like to explain to you is right here where I'm standing at, this here is another one of those 7 mineable veins up. This here is called the Primrose vein. Back there was the whole thing. This here is the Primrose vein. This is about 10.5 foot thick. They moved the pole out of this one. They connected that tunnel to that tunnel on the other side, which we're going to be heading to. They removed the pole. That unit was looking for basically better working conditions, a structured work week, and better pay, safety, some basically simple things. So what they did over time, because a normal year, approximately like 400 miners were being killed within the mines of northeastern Pennsylvania every year. 1930, they had actually a small wooden structure here, which was a hospital. But in 1930, with the expansion, this was a nice white building in here. There was actually electricity to it. They had Dr. Young was a physician on staff at the time. He formed the mine safety rescue team there and trained other workers in first aid within the mine here itself. So, and that was what they did. If anybody sees some people wandering back in here on the left, I know they were looking, but they didn't know what they were looking at. I'm just going to explain. So this steel 1 iron fence in here back in there where the timber went in, that's called a mine cave in. That's a mine collapse back in there. So I just wanted to go.
You hear the train coming down? Yeah, is it coming down or?
Okay, folks, so what I'd like to explain to you is right here where I'm standing at, this here is another one of those 7 mineable veins. This here is called the Primrose. Back there was the whole thing. This here is the Primrose vein. This is about 10.5 foot thick. They removed the pole out of this one and connected that tunnel to that tunnel on the other side, which we're going to be heading to. They removed the pole out of this. This steel pole runs to the surface and actually goes down to the
Powerhouse room.
There's other veins here. There's the
Powerhouse.
That video of it, but
Oh.
Adam says they're mushrooms.
Lay it out. I don't have it. Oh. Cool. Those are the twin pumpkin from the canyon.
That's what they were
The one over there?
And if you look up in this section here, folks, this is what I call a rough cut 2-foot square hole. That goes up about 80 feet. That's another workings up there. What they did is they went up 80 feet above this tunnel. There's a parallel tunnel up above us here where they come to pull out of that also. So it should be up in there in what they call like the chicken ladder. And they would start mining the coal up, bring it back, drop it down through these holes into a waiting coal car. That's what it's called. That's what miners did. Just a little bit There's a John that I won't want to throw up in there. I don't think I could. Wow.
Let me see over in there. Whoa, it goes way up there. 80 feet. Come on, guys. Well, we can climb up there.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Oh, there's some up there. You can see up through there. Above that.
So what I want to mention to everybody now, what we did is we just did a little bit of a walk around in the square. We're back to where we started from. I just still want to mention that within this mine yet, or it's interesting within northeastern. So, folks, that's what my tour is. What I would say is a mining operation across the street, one of those surface mines. Even though they've been digging coal out of here, basically for hundreds of years. Mines. Even though they've been digging coal out of here, basically for hundreds of years, I could say that easily. The organization across the street is Big Anthracite. They run open pit mining. And they claim off of their website, you can look up yourself, that they have 300 million ton of recoverable anthracite coal yet. So for as long as they've been digging it, there's still a lot more to dig. So for as long as they've been digging it, there's still a lot more to dig. If they need it, well, they have to. I hope you enjoy your tour. Or a charity waste, as they would say, in some areas. Chicken, just a rickety, just, yeah, every network they have, it was all, you know, the iron used to work, it's called the rule of thumb, you know, like this. Right? This is a straight 90-degree angle, 15, 30, 45. They did everything the simple way. It's however that they can make it work for you. Very cool. You're welcome very much.
You just did that.
Just watch your head, you just get in.
Yeah.
Pull up, you get a quick photo, sorry.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, and so did I.
And
Oh, nice.
you're playing two pairs.
Totally.
Oh my God. Sorry about that.
Wait.
Okay, just watch your head, just step in.
We
Stand
gotta
up room only.
slide up.
Everybody in. A little bump as we
Mostly.
pull out, folks. So a
Don't
little
fall.
bump.
It's a little bumpy.
Okay. Start about your bowl.
He's got his bowl.
Slight bump, guys.
Slight bump.
Good enough.
Ugh.
That wasn't that bad. closing the gate.
Thanks, folks. Thank you. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
This is it, huh?
That's cool. Anthracite.
Watch the tracks, guys.
Watch your tracks. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Walk right here.
Watch your foot. They're putting it away because it's the end of the day for them. But we had fun. We go look around though. Flip it back around. Looked like it had much better seating. Is that steam?
Yeah, it's steam. Big boiler.
We got some more stuff over there. And some old tracks here. Now, this is tracks everywhere here.
That's going away this month. Going to Ohio.
Is it getting refurbed?
Yes. Yeah, we donated that to another nonprofit. Yeah, that's going to Columbus, Ohio next year this month.
Look at these. These have been sitting somewhere. Oh my goodness. You see these?
No.
They've been sitting there quite some time. Or they were sitting,
Oh, wow.
sitting down in the mine somewhere.
They look like they've been underwater.
Yeah. Apparently they donated that one to another non-profit. It's about to leave. They're about to take this and restore it. That's cool over there.
Over where? Is it under there? I don't know if you guys heard, he said at the end of the month this is going to Ohio.
Look at these. They're sitting in
There's
the
actually
water.
wheels on them.
They were sitting a long time underwater or something.
Totally encased.
Maybe I'll build a small railroad with the amount of tracks sitting over there.
Put it back here.
There's an old Dodge here. Dodge.
It's actually in fairly good shape too.
Road Bridge Department. It's like a sifter or some sort here.
He'll probably be running over there.
I guess it probably still operates. It's got a switch on the side of it.
Look at the chunks of coal at the end of it.
There's a lot of coal on the ground here. Powerhouse. You good? Hey, this is a quarter ton. What in there? What in there? Get out of my yard. Here's a little body work.
Oh!
Be careful. Dude, I'm not sitting in that. It's got a little rust.
Adam!
It's got a little rust issue. Oh, look at the floor. It's not doing too well.
Huh?
The floor ain't doing too well in there.
No.
What happened? What am I missing over here?
Laying down again.
Uh-oh, he's sleeping. He's taking a nap. He's had a hard day. There's some little fire hoses.
You do it too. Jake,
So,
10 plus.
oh
Yes.
man.
Tires too, look at that.
Run the cell line, Becky. Look at
I'm trying to sell them.
How damn, look at that. Plus, iPhone's a pain in the ass.
JP's going up and beyond to the ledge to get that shot. There's a whole bunch of concrete things
Yeah, I've
here.
seen that.
There's one right there too.
Is that
See it?
concrete or is that a cart?
Right here, look.
Yeah.
There's a corner on. They go up the mountain right there, and
Oh,
the
I know
power
what that
and the
is.
power line's disconnected. You see it right there?
Yeah. So there's
There's
supports
this-
like a trough.
There's
or-
also this trough right here.
Yeah.
JP's going for it. All right, we're trying to get down here. Get a group photo, I guess, here. I'm trying. No, wait. Where's Becky? I would fall off. Crash.
Oh, by the way, I am ticklish and stuff, and I'm not telling you
Whoa. Whoa. Got there.
I got the bigger piece of coal.
Oh man. All right, you gotta put it back, cause you know.
Oh, now I got the
Oh,
bigger
you
piece of
broke
coal.
it.
Man, well, I know what
you
Santa's gonna
anywhere.
get you.
I just
All right, we're about to leave this. What's this place called?
what's
this place?
number 9 mile.
Number 9 Mine Tour and Museum. So we go head on out. So like, share, hit the bell if you want to watch more, and like always, I'll flip it around one more time.
Damn it.
Oh, there you go, guys. Flipped it around.
I was holding up so you could read it.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Get
Oh, you got some extra. What did you get?
I got some coal from the coal
She
mine.
got free samples.
Oh, I dropped it. I mean, they didn't have shot glasses, so I guess I gotta get.
So number 8 on this looks like the number 9 one, the entrance.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a little different. Pretty cool. 1845, 1945.
There's all
strip mining area back here. It's the area the guy was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's like 300,000 tons of coke filled up.
This is an electric engine, ain't it? The operating one? Yeah. It's just missing a top piece.
Wheels are gone, I think.
Possibly. They're missing.
Oh no, they're under there.
Some missing pieces.
They're tucked under. Look at the chain. Look up to the wheel here. Down.
Yeah, this tree going up through here. This is like the other one, the 42 at the other
quarter tunnel is on the other one.
Ooh, explosives!
This takes people in mind.
Got the seats in there.
Yeah.
Hey, this is sitting on a foundation. It's a foundation of some sort.
Oh.
Look, it goes this way.
Oh yeah.
So something sat here. Got a little flatbed. What's that stone thing there?
Oh, it's got like a thing on it, like a
Yeah,
shield.
crest. Pretty crazy.
I don't know why they're sitting here.